Welcome to the HSE Mayo OT Handwriting webinar series. This video will focus on letter sizing. Firstly, let's explore why letter sizing is important. The biggest reason is legibility. Correct letter sizing makes it easier and quicker for the reader to identify what we have wrote. Correct letter formation and sizing is also important for the later skill of increasing speed of handwriting, which is needed for keeping up with classwork in the older classes of primary school. Here are some examples of when letter sizing is not done correctly. The most common error that we see is that there is no distinction between tall and small letters, and all the letters are big. This may be all small letters are written big, or just some of them where it is inconsistent. Sometimes we see that all letters are small and the tall letters don't extend up. This is generally not as significant an issue for legibility. We also often see that the fall letters don't go under the line, but rather the bottom part of the letter sits on the line. Typically, it's not just letter sizing that's a difficulty. We also commonly see spacing and line placement errors too. So, when should we teach letter sizing? Generally, letter sizing is taught to children at the same time as letter formation, beginning in junior infants. As children enter senior infants, there's a little more focus on the quality of the writing, including letter sizing and line placement. And as children progress to first class, there is more focus on neat presentation of their work. Developmentally, most children have the ability to recognise different sizes and recognise letter shapes by the age of 6. It is important to emphasise letter sizing at the time of learning letter formations, as it will become ingrained with the motor pattern for that letter. Before we go on to addressing letter sizing, it is important to note that there are some underlying skills necessary to be able to master this part of handwriting, and sometimes work is needed in these areas before or along with specific practice with writing. A person needs good spatial awareness to understand letter height, placement on the line, and where letters are in relation to each other. This is essential for consistent sizing. Good posture and strength is needed to give a stable base. A person needs the fine motor coordination to be able to accurately control the pencil. This involves holding it correctly, controlling its movement, and forming letters with precision. Vision, eye tracking, and visual motor integration are essential to see where the writing line is, to follow the pencil with the eyes as you write, and to use this information to guide the pencil as you write. You also need knowledge of and ability to understand the writing rules for tall, small, and fall letter groups. Now we will look at how we can improve letter sizing errors in the child's writing. This video focuses on the visual perception skills and cognitive strategies for improving letter sizing. Knowledge of letter formation is assumed for the purpose of this video. Our other videos in this series give ideas for targeting posture, fine motor control, pencil grip, pencil pressure, and letter formation. Firstly, consider, does the child understand the concepts of tall, small, top, middle, bottom? If not, spend some time teaching this concept. You can use blocks like these, or traffic lights, or any sort of picture to describe what's on top, what's in the middle, and what's on the bottom. Likewise, you can do so on your body. Next, teach the concept of tall, small, and fall letters. Show them charts and discuss the different letter groupings. Play the hand game to become more familiar with tall, small, and fall letters and make it a more concrete concept. In the hand game, a full hand is used for a capital letter, a fist for a small letter, the index finger up for a tall letter, and the thumb pointing downwards for a fall letter. You can play a game where you spell out a word and use the different hand signals to say whether the letter in the word is tall, small, or fall. Similarly, use the Lego blocks game to build which is a tall, small, or fall letter in the grid below the word. We can also use our voice to show which is tall, small, or fall. Use high-pitched voices for tall letters, small voices for small letters, and deep voices for fall letters when talking about them. For example, when spelling the word thing, we could say T-H-I-N-G. You could also do a highlighter activity where you have to mark each tall letter in a sentence with a highlighter. The quick brown fox sentence has every letter of the alphabet in it and is a good one for this activity. You can then do similar activities for small and fall letters, or you could pull it all together and give the child 3 different colour highlighters and have them have different colour for tall, small and fall letters. Another activity is to scatter letters around the room and then have children work in pairs to find as many small letters as possible. Or if the child is on their own, see how quick you can gather all the small letters. Points can be deducted for any small letter left behind or a tall or fall letter that was put in the pile by accident. Once the child is familiar with the letter groupings, you can apply the concept in their writing. Continuing on with the Lego game from earlier, after building the tall, small and fall letters, get the child to write the word in the grid below. There are a few different paper layouts available to help the child understand the concept on the page. You may need to trial which one is most suitable. Start with double line pages to write on. You can do this in their copy by skipping every second line, printing your own version or buying commercially. Double lines reduces the number of lines to consider and can eliminate confusion. These are particularly useful for early writers. To help with clear letter proportions between tall and small, you can trial dotted third line paper where there is a dashed line in the middle of the two lines. Tall letters write from the baseline to the top line, short letters write from the baseline to the middle line, and fall letters right below the baseline. This three-part system offers a more precise visual cue for the height of the letters, leading to a more consistent sizing and improved legibility. If too many lines are confusing, instead of a dashed line, you can try highlighting the bottom half of the line to show where the small letters fit. Another common strategy we use is the sky, grass, root concept. The concept divides the writing space into three distinct areas. Sky, the top zone, where tall letters like T or H extend to. Grass, the middle zone, where most lowercase letters like A and E sit. Root or dirt, the bottom zone, where letters like G or Y dip down into. If you are using this method, it is useful for the child to reference tall letters as sky letters and fall letters as root letters. The strategy can be used on its own, or it's often helpful to add to your other strategies to help with visualizing the concepts of tall, small and fall. There are lots of other YouTube videos available on using sky, grass, root lines for letter sizing. Their version of the sky, grass, root concept is just the sky, ground concept, and you can easily do this on the child's own writing copy. This one strategy can be used to transfer the practice from sky, grass, root into everyday writing. Once the child then understands the concept, you have to embed the strategies to make it automatic. Practice, practice, practice. Writing is a motor skill. It requires practice to embed the motor memory needed for letter formation with correct sizing. The boxes and dots activity can be useful for early learners. You can use graph paper and when copying a sentence have marked out the squares where the letters fit with the dot in place for the starting point of the letter. Using graph paper without the boxes can also be a good visual way of seeing the difference between letter sizes. When you are practicing letter sizing, do a mix of copying sentences and self-generated sentences. Studies have found copying to be an easier skill as it eliminates spelling and capitalization errors. However, self-generated sentences is more applicable to functional handwriting. Using a handwriting checklist at the end of a writing piece is useful to help the child identify any errors they have made. Improving handwriting is complex and often requires work on more than one area of writing. Our advice is to work on one concept at a time and communicate this between home and school. So, if you are working on letter sizing, this is the main focus to bring the child's attention to. Even though they might have to work on spacing as well, you can reference spacing, but allow them to put all the cognitive effort and thinking into letter sizing at this time until it becomes more automatic. Explore the different strategies that we've looked at in this video with the child. Decide on which one you feel works best for the child and communicate this between home and school. Consistent reinforcement of the same strategy using the same language across environments will ensure the best outcome. To summarise, when a child has challenges with letter sizing, first teach and understand the concepts of tall, small and fall. Apply the concept and consider your choice of paper, and put it into practice in copying and in free writing. Thank you for watching this video. Please check out our other videos in this handwriting webinar series.